The Crean family had waited all week for the Galactic Cultural Exchange Network's inaugural Saturday Night Earth cinema. Their living room was warm with amber light, snack bowls full, antennae perked in happy anticipation.
The network promoted it as a film that exemplifies human emotional storytelling. What a beautiful way to understand our new friends.
The holo screen flickered to life with a gritty, shadowed title card, The Conjuring 2, in cracked white letters on a black void. 32 minutes in, the first full-screen demon face splashed cold blue light across the room. Zorath's antenna slammed flat. His snack bowl clattered to the floor, scattering purple kernels.
Turn it off, Kip. Close your eyes.
12 light-years away in the network's broadcast hub, Director Dalen Merrick's four hands were already scrambling across a dozen panic lights. The emergency protocols were showing numbers he had never imagined.
600 calls per second? That's not a spike. That's a species-wide cardiac event. Shut down the broadcast now.
A holographic galaxy map bloomed crimson as emergency calls lit up across 83 systems simultaneously. The carefully curated cultural exchange had become a mass traumatic event in under an hour. Dalen killed the feed with a trembling claw, but the damage was already carved into 8 billion alien minds. The galaxy had just learned that human storytelling was something entirely else.
What kind of species creates such torment for entertainment? Our child's antennae may never uncurl.
The network's apology loop broadcast to rejected screens. The damage had already metastasized across 83 star systems. 3 small species delegations filed emergency trauma counseling requests. The lead ambassador's appendage trembled as he presented the document. Immediate intervention required. In the Veluran Concord's crystalline chamber, Elder Xylith rose. His bioluminescent ridges pulsed with urgent azure.
By Concord authority, this broadcast is banned. We will not allow human emotional weaponry.
The ban, fastest in Veluran history, rippled across subspace within the hour. The galaxy watched a civilization recoil from human art in real time. Across the planet, Veluran families sat frozen in their living rooms, identical to the Crean household light years away. The network's lines still keened when Director Dalen received the Veluran decree. Another species had declared Earth's art a hostile act.
We wanted exchange. We got catastrophe. Tell Earth they have explaining to do.
And so the message crossed the void. Earth would have to justify what it had unleashed. The Thelthar Bureau filed a formal inquiry. Was the film a weaponized cultural artifact? In a quiet diplomatic office overlooking the Pacific, Christine Vance watched the galactic outrage spread.
A horror film. Of all human art, the randomizer picks a horror film for first contact.
Then the official summon arrived. She was Earth's designated cultural liaison for the crisis. Her communicator displayed the encrypted note. Christine, you're our only hope. Keep them calm. Don't mention the rating.
Don't mention the rating, as if I could possibly explain it to beings who've never encountered a jump scare. She already knew that secret would detonate the moment it came out.
She grabbed her tablet and left for the diplomatic shuttle, every step measured. The hangar doors opened to a pale dawn. She carried no prepared defense, only the uncomfortable truth. The shuttle's engines hummed to life. Earth fell away behind her, and the galaxy's questions followed her into the dark. The docking bay was a cathedral of cold metal and colder stairs. Christine Vance stepped off the shuttle, her coat the only warm thing in sight. She was escorted through silent corridors to the council chamber, where her holographic avatar would face the galaxy's fury.
Liaison Vance, explain how Earth dares broadcast psychological assault under the banner of cultural exchange.
The film is a work of fiction, a genre we call horror. Humans willingly engage with it to experience fear in a controlled setting.
The council's reaction was a mix of confusion and disgust. Several delegates recoiled as if the word itself was a contaminant.
You deliberately induce terror for recreation? Your species courts mental disintegration as a pastime?
It's not disintegration, it's catharsis. We process danger without being in danger. It's a tool, not a weapon.
Your tool shattered millions of minds in 32 minutes. We call that a weapon.
They can't see it. The lens is too alien. I'm speaking a language of screams to a people who've never known fear as anything but a threat to survival.
Christine stood isolated before the glowing council, her careful words falling like pebbles into a chasm. The crisis was just beginning. The council granted no recess. Inquisitor Vorn took Christine to a clinical gray chamber, her three eyes cataloging every human micro-expression.
Liaison Vance, this inquiry demands precision. Explain how inducing paralytic dread serves a social function in your species.
It's a controlled threat. The brain knows it's safe, but the body learns to process fear. Afterwards, the relief is profound.
Vorn's claw tapped a hovering evidence tablet. The screen displayed a film still, the crooked nun with overlaid data. Fear response, extreme. Heart rate spike, 312%. Species, human, rating pending.
She's never felt the electric hum of survival after a scare. I might as well describe color to the blind.
In a different spiral arm, Zorath's family still knelt on the floor. Lyra's voice had broken. Kip's antennae were fully retracted, his small chest heaving.
Your species engineers psychological trauma for amusement, yet you claim to be cooperative. The contradiction demands a better answer.
It's not trauma, it's vaccination. We expose ourselves to small controlled terrors to inoculate against the larger ones.
The galactic news feeds painted a stark portrait. 8 billion viewers, 3 species in counseling, 1 Concord ban, and a single human woman speaking to a wall of disbelief. Christine held Vorn's gaze and felt the unspoken secret pressing against her ribs. The real explosion was still ticking. The session resumed in the council chamber, but the air had changed. Elder Zelith stood, holding an archival news tile.
Before this atrocity, your species exported another contagion, heavy metal. Our adolescents are still neurologically unsettled. Now you broadcast terror to every fragile mind in the galaxy. This is no accident, Liaison. It is a pattern.
On a Velaran street far from the council, a child no older than Kip wore a faded black tunic with a crumbling metal band logo. His antennae twitched with quiet defiance.
I won't deny Earth's cultural exports can be intense. But heavy metal was a genuine artistic exchange, not an attack.
Your exchange left a generation of Velaran youth with auditory trauma and antisocial tendencies. We will not allow a sequel.
The other delegates murmured assent. The session was slipping from inquiry into tribunal.
They're building a case for contamination. If I can't prove intent is benign, they'll quarantine everything we've ever made.
Therefore, the Concord moves that all future Earth media, film, music, text, must pass a multi-species psychological review before broadcast.
Christine realized the trap too late. Earth wouldn't be convicted of weaponizing art. It would simply be gagged by 1,000 layers of fear. The council recessed under the weight of its own motion. Christine, needing a different weapon, sought out the station's xenoanthropology archive. On a reading pedestal lay a crystallized text, open to a chapter. Horror cinema, a human survival mechanism?
They've studied us. The mechanism isn't trauma, it's rehearsal. Children practice being scared in safety.
A resident anthropologist, an elderly Thelthar with ocular lenses, gestured at a floating chart. The gap was obscene.
Human 10-year-olds tolerate stimuli that hospitalize grown Velaran. This explains everything and guarantees nothing.
The anthropologist offered data on human juvenile resilience, but Christine already saw the path. The truth was the only argument left.
If I tell them the film was made for human adolescents, they'll recoil. But if I don't, Earth is silenced forever.
She stared again at the chart, at the tiny human silhouette towering over every other species' tolerance. The argument was monstrous, but it was true. She closed the crystal book, its glow fading. The council wouldn't forgive her for what she was about to say.
But forgiveness is not my mission. Survival is.
When the council reconvened, Christine's hologram stood at the center, but her posture had shifted. She held a crystalline data slate with the Earth rating system.
The film carries a rating, R15. On Earth, that designates content intended for viewers aged 15 solar years and above.
A glowing graphic materialized between the delegates, a stylized human figure age brackets, the number 15 pulsing in cautious amber. A collective intake of breath swept the chamber. Several smaller species delegates physically recoiled, one collapsing backward into the arms of an aide.
You classify the film for the neurological intake of your species' adolescence. You deliberately expose undeveloped minds to this.
Yes, we do. By 15, human neural pathways are primed for controlled fear. It's a developmental tool we've used for centuries.
Elder Xylith's ridges flickered with a sharp indigo distress pattern. The motion for a media quarantine suddenly seemed insufficient to the chamber.
You launched this assault wing the galaxy without warning, knowing your own young were the intended audience? This transcends negligence, liaison.
The selection was randomized. No one anticipated a horror film, but the rating is fact. Human teenagers watch this routinely.
The R15 label now hung over the proceedings like a verdict. The council wasn't just banning a film, they were quarantining an entire species' approach to maturation.
You allow children to witness this? Your own species' adolescents, neuro-immature, impressionable, are your target audience for psychological assault?
They are not assaulted, Inquisitor. They choose it. Human children have gathered to tell ghost stories since our prehistory. Fear is a playground to them.
Another ripple of disbelief passed through the room. Several delegates exchanged glances that translated across species. This species is beyond salvage.
Prehistory? You are saying this contamination is baked into your species' developmental cycle? That human children actively seek out trauma?
They seek out controlled fear, not trauma. It builds resilience. By the time a human reaches adulthood, they've rehearsed 1,000 terrors in safety.
And the younger children? The ones below 15? Do they also participate in this rehearsal? Or do your adults draw a line?
She's digging. If I say yes, they'll see us as monsters. If I say no, I'm lying. Ava's face flashes in my mind. Most human cultures have age guidelines, but enforcement varies. Many younger adolescents watch such films with family or peers. It's a social ritual.
The chamber fell into a cold silence. The word ritual echoed with an almost religious connotation. They were now judging human child rearing itself. Christine could feel the trap closing. They didn't believe her, and worse, they were beginning to believe that humanity itself was a developmental contagion.
You speak of rituals and resilience. Provide a concrete example, liaison. Give us a name of a human child below your rating who watched this film willingly.
My niece, Ava Vance. She's 14, and she watches horror films at sleepovers with her friends. I have a photo.
She tapped her tablet and projected a casual image. Ava grinning in a pillow fort, popcorn bowl balanced on her knees, the film's title card glowing on a distant screen behind her. The image bloomed on the council's main screen. The chamber fell into a silence so complete that the ambient whine of the station felt like a scream. A child. A smile. A demon on the screen behind her. The contradiction was so jarring that 3 delegates involuntarily rose from their seats, antennae, fins, and tendrils trembling.
This is your direct family, and she is unharmed. She bears no psychological scarring from exposure to what hospitalized 3 species.
She finds it mildly frightening, then laughs about it with her friends. To her, it's a campfire story with better effects.
Your species has normalized psychological assault on its own young. I formally submit that Earth's cultural products be classified as biohazards until proven inert.
Elder Xylith's bioluminescent ridges pulsed a rare yellow, the Velarin color for emergency. He called for immediate executive measures. The room was no longer a debate, it was a crisis response. Christine lowered the tablet. The photo was now part of galactic history. She had told them everything, and somewhere in the silence, a few delegates looked at the smiling human child not with horror, but with a terrible, dawning curiosity. The council session dissolved, but the holographic image of Ava Vance did not. It spread instead, clipped, shared, broadcast across 17 networks before the hour ended. Director Dallon Merrick stood before his own network's emergency assembly, 4 hands gripping the podium. His compound eyes reflected a sea of horrified staff.
The crisis has evolved. The council has confirmed. Human juveniles consume this material recreationally. This network must act categorically and immediately.
A translucent hologram materialized beside him, a multi-tier biological warning system with sensor icons for heart rate, adrenaline, and fear level, culminating in a crimson cultural hazard tier.
Effective immediately. Every Earth film must ship with this warning protocol. We will measure heartbeat spikes, adrenal cascades, and psychological aftershock before any future broadcast.
Aides circulated crystalline tablets. Dallon's signature trembled across the screen. The Multi-Tier Biological Warning System Act was law 31 seconds after it was proposed. On 100 worlds, the news of Ava Vance, the 14-year-old human who shrugged off what shattered millions, sparked a volatile mix of terror and fascination. Elder Xylith's emergency edict crossed the network's channels, demanding all Concord species quarantine Earth media pending psychological compatibility certification. In the network's control room, the earlier chaos had calcified into a bureaucratic machine. Earth was now classified as a source of potential biohazard, its films as untested compounds. Somewhere in the data stream, a small flagged note held the words Ava Vance, kinda mid. It hadn't gone viral yet, but the seed was planted.
The evidence is incontrovertible. I move that all Earth horror films be immediately reclassified as cultural hazardous materials, with full quarantine protocols.
The motion passed without objection. Horror cinema became a controlled substance, requiring bio-sealed shipping and labeled warnings across the galaxy. Within hours, cargo bays displayed the new designation: Earth film reels surrounding by glowing biohazard stamps marked as cultural hazard, not for exposure without protective protocols. The same containers that once held diplomatic gifts now transported Earth's horror films as quarantined artifacts, scanned by 3 layers of alien biodetectors. On Earth, Ava Vance lounged on her couch in fuzzy socks, her tablet buzzing with a strange interstellar interview request. She hadn't yet understood why.
An interview? About The Conjuring 2? That old movie? Sure, whatever. Can I wear my pajamas?
A half-galaxy away, Christine watched the interview confirmation flash on her own tablet, her heart sinking with a mix of dread and a strange, exhausted pride.
They'll expect terror or tears. She won't give them either. In fact, she might just break them with a bored smile.
Across galactic news networks, the upcoming exclusive was already being promoted: first contact with the human child who survived and laughed. The galaxy held its breath. Whatever Ava said next would either shatter the quarantine or harden it into eternal law. Christine could only wait and remember the note she'd been told never to mention. The interview was live, broadcast across 17 networks. Ava Vance sat cross-legged on her couch, still in pajamas, a bowl of popcorn balanced on one knee.
It had some jumps, I guess. But my friend screamed louder at a dog video last week. The movie? Eh? It was kinda mid.
The 2 words echoed across subspace. Translators across 100 species struggled to convey the casual underwhelm of a 14-year-old. Alien social media erupted. A clip of Ava's deadpan expression looped beneath confused symbols and trembling emojis. The phrase, kinda mid, spread like a virus, pinned to every galactic disappointment from failed crops to political campaigns. Holographic banners shifted. The old headline was replaced by a single screaming question: "Kids watch this?" Behind screens, officials stared at their review motions. The film they had quarantined was, to its intended audience, mediocre. Christine watched from her station, a strange mix of relief and exhaustion settling in. The quarantine was now absurd. The galaxy had discovered humanity's most terrifying secret, not the film itself, but a teenager's shrug. In a dim Velarin basement, Rin hunched over a stolen holopad, watching the Ava Vance interview on loop. Her shrug burned brighter than any protest sign.
She calls it Mid, a film that sent 3 species to counseling. What kind of planet produces kids like her?
He found the film's code on a black market archive, routed through 3 dead relays. The download bar filled with a terrible electric promise. Alone in the dark, Rin pressed play. The demon face bloomed cold on his walls. His heart hammered, and then his ridges flickered with something new. Excitement.
It's not just fear. It's like the music, but visual. Heavy metal for the eyes. I need to show the others.
Within hours, 2 friends crept into his basement. They watched huddled together, antennae stiff with shared dread, but no one retracted. No one wanted it to stop. Rin recorded their reactions, the gasps, the laughter, and uploaded the file to an underground Velarin forum. The view count began to climb. Other Velarin youth, already nursing heavy metal bruises, found the clip. They sent requests. Where? How? When? Rin became a dealer of Earth's forbidden cinema. Within days, a small cadre emerged. They wore black jackets over traditional robes and painted horror icons on their belongings. The heavy metal rebellion had a new sibling. Rin sealed his choice. The Concord would call it contamination. He called it the first honest feeling he'd ever had. The Velarin underground fused metal and horror into a single ritual. Secret screenings ended with distorted guitars, and graffiti snarled on ancient walls, R15 equals freedom. Parents found black market tickets in their children's robes. They remembered the heavy metal tremors that had cracked their society once before. This was worse. They did not understand. The fear that shattered them was, to their children, a promise, a door to something vast and untamed.
The rot is metastasizing. I move for immediate enforcement, raid the dens, confiscate the data, and arrest the distributors, by force if necessary.
The Concord passed harsher decrees in a single cycle: cultural curfews, increased monitoring, rehabilitation camps for repeat offenders. A Thelthar enforcement team, armored and trained for chemical containment, stormed an underground screening in the lower vaults. They expected terror. They found defiance.
This gathering is in violation of Concord Edict. Surrender the hazardous material and disperse. Enough psychological bleeding.
The youth did not scatter. They formed a wall shoulder to shoulder, and a chorus of distorted riffs blasted from a jury-rigged speaker. The raid stalled.
We're not bleeding, Inquisitor. We're awake. This contamination you fear, it's the first thing that's ever made sense.
The Thelthar pulled back, regrouped, and reported the incident as unprecedented cultural resistance. The Velarin Concord had lost its children, and no lockdown could retrieve them. In her quiet office, Christine watched the Thelthar retreat from the Velarin vaults. The footage was grainy, but the youth's defiance was unmistakable.
They tried to quarantine it. Now it's a revolution. Of course it is.
Later, in a small Earth cafe under a neon alien skyline, she sat across from Ava, who was methodically destroying a cookie.
And Christine, my face is on like a million alien news things. Is this like a big deal or just weird?
Both, honestly. The galaxy just learned that human teenagers find their worst fears boring, and now Velarin kids are rebelling with our B-movies.
Rebellion? Over The Conjuring 2? It's not even the scariest one. Wait, is this why my TikTok went interstellar?
Exactly. You said it was kinda mid, and the galaxy broke. You're an accidental counterculture icon.
A nearby screen looped Ava's viral clip. She caught sight of her own deadpan expression and burst into laughter, nearly choking on her cookie.
We never planned this, but maybe the best cultural exchange is the one that happens by accident, in the dark with a bag of popcorn and a shrug.
The galaxy had tried to contain humanity's horror, and humanity's children had turned it into a beacon. Christine shook her head, exhausted and oddly proud. The Galactic Cultural Exchange Network issued its final decree. Earth horror was permanently classified as cultural hazardous material, Tier Red, with immediate effect. A new warning label materialized, a stylized human skull over a film reel, surrounded by 17 languages of dire caution. On a dozen worlds, black market dealers sold the banned films faster than official stamps could be applied. Humanity's horror became the most smuggled commodity since the sentient spice crisis.
We tried to contain it, but demand is exponential. Velaran youth turned our quarantine into a badge of honor. It's uncontrollable.
In the Velaran Concord, Elder Zealith watched the reports with a face of stone. His own grandchildren were now suspected of owning bootleg copies.
We tried to protect them, and we only made the poison sweeter. Is there any cultural antibody strong enough for humanity?
The Thelthar Bureau's reclassification list grew: horror cinema, heavy metal, and a new entry labeled simply human adolescence. Earth's Cultural Board watched the figures in disbelief. Sales of human horror films had increased by 4,000% across the galaxy. The quarantine had become the ultimate marketing. Christine received the official memo. Earth's cultural exports reclassified as hazardous, but market uptake exceeds all other trade categories. She stared at it for a long time. The galaxy had officially labeled humanity a biohazard. For the first time, Earth wasn't sure if that was a punishment or a promotion. The Velaran vault erupted. 1,000 youths, distorted guitars, and a 10-meter demon face on the wall. Rhine stood at the center, fist pumping, ridges blazing. The film's screams merged with the crowd's roar.
This is what they banned. This is the exchange we want, raw, unfiltered, alive.
The Conjuring 2 demon materialized, and the crowd threw their hands up in joy, not terror. In the balconies, older Velaran wept, clutching faded flyers of songs they had outlawed. A holographic split, Ava's smirk on one side, Rin's headbang on the other. Their connection was undeniable. The Thelthar agent watching the feed slammed her tablet shut. The Bureau had no answer for this. Rin raised a hollow projector. Ava's Kinda Mid played over the PA, and the crowd chanted it back. A youth held a sign, "We want more horror." Behind them, parents knelt in grief. The concert became a symbol. Velaran children had found their voice, and it screamed. The Earth Cultural Board convened in a sterile room, staring at data slates that showed a quarantine warning beside a sales graph climbing toward the ceiling.
So, did we win? Because it feels like we just became the best black market brand in galactic history.
A holographic job posting appeared on the central screen. Wanted, horror content screener for interstellar broadcasts. The absurdity was now official.
We'll need someone to watch the movies before the aliens do. Make sure the warnings are adequate.
One official tapped the table, then let out a tired chuckle. The room followed, laughter blooming like a nervous release. The memo they drafted read, "Earth recommends all future cultural exchanges be pre-approved by a minor under 16 with a low threshold for entertainment." Christine looked at the recommendation and thought of Ava, still unaware she was now a galactic policy cornerstone. Across the table, someone muttered, "We're going to need a bigger warning label." The laugh that followed was less broken, more genuine. They adjourned with no further agenda. The meeting minutes would later be classified as hazardous material, humorous subcategory. Earth had learned the lesson: never underestimate the appeal of a bored teenager. In their living room, Zorath's family arranged the protective screens and calming devices. A new Earth horror film was cued.
This one is called Insidious. The warning label says frequent spine chills. Are we ready?
The film began. A jump scare sent a ripple through the shields, but the family stayed. Kip's antennae quivered, but his eyes stayed open.
Human younglings watch this without shields. They are brave. Or maybe we are learning.
Perhaps both. Their stories are not weapons. They are invitations to survive.
Our world is so quiet. Maybe quiet isn't always strength.
Later, Zorath mounted a small poster of The Conjuring 2 on their wall. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder.
Next film, can we invite my friend? He still retracts at story time, but I want to show him it's okay.
Yes, that's how exchange works, I think. One brave child at a time.
The Crean family sat in comfortable silence, the galaxy's chaos reduced to a quiet hum. They were healing. Christine Vance filed her final report. Earth's horror cinema causes elevated heart rates in 93% of tested species, yet interstellar demand has increased 4,000%. Ava leaned over her shoulder, chewing loudly. She read the draft and snorted.
Embrace horror diplomacy? Aunt Christine, this is so extra. You're literally the most dramatic diplomat ever.
It's called policy framing, Ava. Besides, kinda mid wasn't exactly a diplomatic coup, but it worked.
She tapped the final line. Recommend Earth cultivate its hazardous appeal with proper warning labels, and a teenager on the review board.
Wait, are you quoting me without credit? My agent will hear about this.
Your agent is a stuffed penguin, Ava. Now let me file this before the Veluran parents find out we're a department.
With a flick, the report was submitted. Earth's cultural policy now included a subsection titled Managed Hazardous Exchange. Christine leaned back. Outside the cafe window, an alien news banner flickered through images of Veluran concerts and Ava's shrug. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would movie night. The Veluran concert hit its encore. The lights dropped, and a new projection swallowed the stage. Ava Vance's face bloomed 30 meters high, her smirk unmistakable. Beside it, in blazing neon, two words, Kinda Mid.
That's her. The human who didn't flinch. She's why we're here.
The crowd's roar swallowed the band. Thousands of Veluran youth chanted those words back, making them a hymn. Human children were not okay. They were so far beyond okay that the word had lost all meaning. And that was precisely why they were unstoppable. The screen began its slow fade. The noise dimmed, the faces softened, but that smirk lingered. Darkness. Then, alone in the void, a single symbol ignited. The Earth rating R15, glowing without context, without warning. It was a warning. It was a badge. It was a question no one had finished answering. Humanity's horror had escaped its cage, and the galaxy had never felt more alive or more terrified.